Hello everyone, welcome to today's video, and this is going to be a little bit different, but we're still going to be covering emulation in this video. And specifically we're going to be talking about the SteamDeck and how to set everything up with a program that's called EmuDeck. Now, EmuDeck is not the only one that you can do this with, but it's the one that I use and I like it, and I don't really have any problems with it. So if you are thinking about getting a Steam Deck from a retro gamer's perspective, I would highly recommend it. And as you can see, this is the interface of my Steam Deck. You have just a couple of games that you can that you can get on there, and there's tons more, but I'm not going to go into that. What I am going to go into is how to get this working. So first things first, you can do this without a mouse and keyboard, but it is pretty darn difficult. I actually attempted to do it myself without a mouse and keyboard, and I wound up just giving up and finding a mouse and keyboard to use. So first you're going to go to Steam, click on Power, and then go to Switch to Desktop. And obviously, as the name suggests, we're going to be switching to desktop mode. And this is simply a Linux desktop. I believe the Steam Deck runs on a modified version of Arch Linux, but don't think too much or too hard about that. Just know that it's similar to Windows, but it's not Windows, so it'll work a little bit differently. And so what I have down here, this is obviously mine. I have it specifically customized to me. It will not look like this for you. You make it how you want it. That's the lovely part of the Steam Deck. I swear I sound like I'm actually sponsored by Valve, but I'm not. I just think that this is a wonderful machine, and it was well thought out. Is it perfect? No, but I think it was really well done. So the first thing we're going to do, you see EmuDeck up here. I already have it installed. I'm not going to uninstall it and reinstall it, but I am going to show you how to get to it. So the first thing we're going to do is go type in EmuDeck, and we'll go to the website. There's this guy right here. So you can install this on an SD card, and you can follow these instructions, or you can follow the instructions in this video, but either way, whichever suits your fancy, that's fine with me. I just want everybody to know how to do this, because once I figured it out, it has made my use of my Steam Deck, like, it completely changed 100%. I'm a retro gamer. I love all these old games, so it made it where I had access to them on the go, which has never happened before in my lifetime, to me anyway. So up here we are going to download the EmuDeck installer. Now you may be asking, where's the Windows version? Where's the Apple version? Well, it doesn't work it only works on the Steam Deck. So you click on the downloader, and then you extract the files, whatever you have to do, and you're going to wind up with this icon right here up at the top. So you double click on that, and it's going to look like something like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to do a custom install. I already have it installed, and so we'll just go through that process. No big deal. So we click continue, click on the storage of your choice. I'm using the internal storage here, and once you click either one you want, click continue. And obviously we're using a Steam Deck. It will also work on the Abernic Win 600, but I don't have one of those, so that's what I'm going with. These are all the emulators that it's going to be installing, and these are all the configurations that it's going to do. So then you hit continue, and you have a couple of different options here. So there's an autosave feature. I like it, so I leave it on. There's a retro achievements. So Retro Achievements, I've talked about this before. It's actually a website that you can integrate with the emulators, PCSX2 for PS2, DuckStation, RetroArch, all of them, or a lot of them, work with Retro Achievements, and it'll track your progress based on the achievements listed on the website. So if you want to do that, that's really cool. Then there's game bezels for these systems right here. It's pretty cool. If you put it on, it's like that. Whichever system you're using, it'll put the little bezel on the outside of the play area. So I just leave that off. Personal preference. Leave it on if you want to. And then there's some aspect ratios for Sega Genesis, Classic Nintendo, N64. I believe that was N64. Yeah, Dreamcast and N64. The GameCube. LCD shader for handheld systems, so I leave it off. If you turn it on, looks like that. I don't like that. I like the crisper, cleaner look. So go with that. CRT shader for classic 2D games. So it looks like on, off, on, off. I'm just going to go through these really quick. Then you have the CRT shaders, which basically just puts lines on the screen, if you ask me. And then there is an emulation station, which is basically like a front end for multiple emulators. It's really useful, and you can have multiple different themes based on that. One that actually looks like the Nintendo Switch, but I go with that one because I like the artwork that goes with each console. And hit next. Install Homebrew. If you don't know what Homebrew is, it's basically a couple of fan-made games. They're not licensed by Nintendo or Sega or anything like that, but they're pretty fun. They have quite a few of them actually. Go there, and then you kind of review everything that's on here. Then you click Finish, and then you wait. Alrighty, now the installation is complete. You need to go to the Steam ROM Manager in order to add the games that you already have downloaded. If you need the games and you don't already have them, you can find them. And if you don't actually have the ROMs ripped from the cartridge or the CD itself, you can find them with a simple Google search. Just be careful because there are nefarious actors out there that want to give everybody viruses. So just be careful, that's all I'm saying. So we launched the Steam ROM Manager, and if you have Steam open, this guy right here, you have to close it. So click yes, and it'll automatically close Steam no matter whatever you're doing. Now before we get into the ROM Manager, I do want to show you something else that will come in. It's going to be pretty darn important. So whenever you are trying to find everything, if you go over here to the left hand side, you're going to be at Home, go to Deck, go down to Emulation, and go to ROMs. And all of this stuff is going to come up. And each one of these are a file dedicated to each individual emulator. So for example, right here is the Nintendo 64. Here is the original Xbox, Sega Saturn, Super Famicom, Sega CD, PlayStation 2. PlayStation 1 is actually PSX on here, so just keep that in mind if you're gonna use that emulator. It's called DuckStation, but here is where you will put all of your games at, and it'll make it easier for all of the emulators to read it. And as you can see here, I've got just a couple, and so you'll see them come up whenever I get to the next step. So now that this, you hopefully have a good understanding of this part, we are going to go to the ROM Manager, and it's going to come up and it's going to look like this. So if you went to, let's say, Sega Dreamcast, all right, and you have your games, the ROMs for your games, or the ISO files, or whatever the case is, in their respective folders, you can come over here, click on any of the consoles, whichever one you prefer, go down here to test parser. And this will actually show you the games that you have installed. So here's Vigilante 8 Second Offense, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, and so on and so forth. It goes all the way down. And for every emulator that you have games installed in the folder for, it will actually read them or give you a readout of them here. Now, what you need to do is go up here to preview and click on parse, and it will bring up, and try to move this over a little bit, it will bring up the games that you have, and you can sort them by the category or the emulator here. So I clicked on Xbox, and here's all the games that I have for Xbox. Click on Xbox again, that deselects it, then click on PlayStation 2. So then you can go down, and the artwork will show up in Steam OS whenever we get back to gaming mode. So once you have your artwork correct, because sometimes it'll give you some weird stuff like this right here. This is Terminator Dawn of Fate, but it doesn't have the right artwork. If you wanted to actually download the game cover and put it here, you can do that. You just have, you add local image, that icon right there, click on that, and you can add whatever image you want to. You can add an image of yourself, so whatever the case is. I would just make sure that it's the right size. So in any case, once you do that, you click Save to Steam, and that saves all of the images that you've set to Steam for you to use later. And now you can X out of that. We'll close this. And now we'll go back to gaming mode. And honestly, we're almost done. This is how simple this is. Okay, so now we want to make sure that our games are available. So we're going to go down here to the Steam menu, click it, click on Library, and you're going to come out right here. However, if you go over to Collections, you're going to see each individual emulator you should see each individual emulator that you have installed. If you don't, or that you have games installed for, that's a better way to say this. If you don't, then click on Non-Steam, and you will see each individual game that you have. They're all mixed match. Let's say you have, let me think, Batman Returns for Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, then it'll put it right next to each other and you won't know which one is for which. So just something to keep in mind. As long as all of the games that you installed show up here, then you should be good to go. And let's see here, Death and Return of Superman, double click on it, click play. And that's where I left off the last time that I was playing it. So it really is that simple. And so if you have any questions, you run into any problems, you can leave a comment on this video, and I'll do my best to help you out. If you don't want to do that, you can, any of this stuff, you can find help on Reddit. Reddit, there's a SteamDeck page. There are emulation pages. There's subreddits for every single emulator. Flycast for the Sega Dreamcast, RetroArch, which is a bunch of different emulators put together, DuckStation, PCSX2, all of them. It just depends on how much work you want to put into it. And usually, I mean, it's not really a whole lot of work that you have to put into getting these emulators to work, because somebody somewhere has had this problem before and they can help you through it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I hope it was informative to you most of all. If you like this video, drop a like on it. If you want to see more like this, I have more emulation videos previously uploaded and more to come also. and other retro gaming content, and also PC content in general, then subscribe to the channel. And I hope this video helped you guys out. And until next time, work hard, play hard, game hard, but above all else, be excellent to each other. Bye.